Hello Planet Internet, I am Emperor Cole. This is Emperor Cole Film Review, brought to you by MindbenderENT.com. And today I'm here to review Queen and Slim. Written by Lena Waithe, with a story by Lena Waithe and James Frey, and directed by Melina Matsoukas. Everybody, let's get ready to take this journey together. And if you see the police pulling us over, do not stop the car. Just keep going. Let's do it. I want to speak about this movie as if you've seen it, so this is going to be a full spoiler review. If you have not seen the film, you definitely want to go to the movie theater and check it out, because like I just said, I'm going to talk about everything. I'm going into full spoilers. So, now when I first saw the trailer for Queen and Slim, I thought this movie was going to be a Bonnie and Clyde action thriller type of film, where they were going to be on the run from the police, possibly getting into shootouts and maybe even killing several police officers, and there was going to be a big political message behind it and something like that. I even thought that the movie was going to have somewhat of a Black Panther angle to it, like I said, with an action and crime thriller. And I was completely wrong. This movie is not that type of film at all. It is actually more of a coming-of-age love story that has a lot of different layers to it, and I was pleasantly surprised. So this movie will definitely make you ask the question of what would you do if you found yourself in a situation similar to this one. So if you were with your spouse or your loved one and you get pulled over by the police and the cop is just responding way too aggressive or even pulling out his gun, how would you respond in that situation? And seeing the way it plays out on screen, like I said, it definitely makes you wonder, how would you react in that same situation? Or if you were on your first date with someone you just met, would you be inclined to want to defend that person or help them out? Or would you stand by idly and let their interaction with the cop play out however it did? So the way it obviously happens in the movie, the cop ends up shooting Queen in the leg. And of course, the guy Slim, he runs, he has to try to get the gun from him, and he ends up shooting the cop in the face and killing him, shot him in the face, slashed the head. And later on in the film, you find out that this same cop had killed a black man 2 years previously in a case where he got off. So, I mean, that backstory of providing that information definitely let us know that had he not acted, that at least he would have probably been killed, or if not, maybe even both of them. So, like I said, the movie is just, I thought that was a very crazy scene, and just seeing it, you know, just being in that moment, it's like, that feels like that could have been in one of us, just in general, how things play out in real life. Like, you never know what such a simple thing, being pulled over by the police, could later on turn into someone losing their life on either side. The chemistry between Daniel Kaluuya, playing the character of Slim, and Jodie Turner-Smith, I believe, as Queen was very good. They were very believable as a couple, and they were very believable as people who had just met, who were kind of getting to know each other and feeling each other out through this very stressful situation where they're on the run from the police. So there was several times where they did things that didn't seem very realistic, like the scene where Slim wanted to ride the horse because he had heard about riding horses, or even where she wanted to stop by her mother's gravesite and wanted to see her mother's grave one last time. As the audience, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, they're on the run, they should be trying to hurry up and get to this guy that has his airplane so they can get out of the United States and go to Cuba. But as these characters, they're facing quite possibly, like I said, this is going to be their last time ever in the country, or they may end up dying. It's like they want to experience certain things at least once in their lifetime. So it became believable in that regard. Bokeem Woodbine did a very good job at playing the role of Uncle Earl, where Queen tells Slim that she knows what place where they can go, where they could definitely get some help, and they drive down to New Orleans to meet up with her uncle. And when you meet this character, he's an Army veteran who's obviously, he's clearly like a pimp or some kind of he's basically got a bunch of hoes that's like his girls. He's living in the house, but these prostitutes are basically like his women. They're taking care of him. And just seeing that scene, he was like a scene stealer to me. I thought he did a very good job in that role, and they basically gave a lot of the backstory with Queen, where you find out that he ended up killing her mother when they got into an argument, and he ended up throwing her down the stairs, and I think she broke her neck. And then the fact that you find out that he was the first person that she represented as a lawyer, and she got him off for her mother's murder. Like, you understand that she had this volatile, unhealthy relationship with her family, and you understand why later on in the film, when Slim keeps wanting to call his father, and it was so easy for her to detach from her family and not really want to hold on to anything and just want to see if they can make it to Cuba. I think this speaks to a problem that kind of still goes on today, where people come back from war, they have Army veterans who may have mental health issues, or they may need physical care or something of that nature, and the government doesn't support them the way everybody thinks they would. And oftentimes they're left to fend for themselves, and they basically have to survive however they can. So this leads to a lot of people being on the streets. And I believe it is a statistic where I want to say every 21 days an Army veteran commits suicide, something like that. And that's a real stat, something of that nature. So it just goes to show, I thought they did a very good job at illustrating that this is a social, political problem that's still going on to this day. There's a powerful line that I felt like kind of illustrates the situation, where she says, out there, he's not shit. Basically, like the rest of the world doesn't treat him like shit. But in here, you know, he's a king. We treat him like a king. So I thought that was something that clearly illustrated why he was content with his situation and happy where he was. Obviously, everybody's going to go where they want it, where they feel appreciated. So although he was basically dealing women and dealing in prostitutes, this is how he survived. They were happy doing what they were doing. He was happy being treated like the man, and they were happy having him. I guess he treated them like he loved them. So, you know. Another thing I liked that this film touched on was the role that social media and video plays in public perception when something happens. So in this film, of course, the cop getting shot and even him shooting Queen was caught on video, caught on his body cam. And that was released to the news outlets and social media. And you saw how the people around the country felt like Queen and Slim, like they represented this movement against police brutality. People felt like they were taking a stand, you know. They were becoming like local heroes and everybody knew who they was. But in reality, they were just two people who got caught up in a really crazy situation that just so happened to happen. Also, it shows like the mechanic's son, he had this ideology that they were taking this big stand. And like that's that part where they're walking down by the river where he's just like helping them kill some time while the mechanic's actually fixing their car. Like he's letting them know that he looked up to them, like he was saying that, oh, I just saw you guys on TV, I saw you guys in this video, and now you're actually here. But it's showing how he interpreted what had happened with them. And then later on, that scene that I thought was very egregious, the scene where he's at the rally and he's just super duper hyped up and he ends up pulling out a gun and shooting the cop in the face or the head and killing him. Like he was basically looking for trouble. He took the message way too far. He interpreted it and made it his own thing. A scene that I really enjoyed within this film was when they were at the house of the first guy who was supposed to help them. And the big house, like the mansion, I can't remember his exact name, but it was played by the Red Hot Chili Peppers band member Flea, where they're there with his wife and I believe Uncle Earl had told him, he said his wife's a bitch, but the guy's really cool. So when they're there and they're having dinner and the next thing you know, the SWAT team is raiding the house and he tells them, you know, go upstairs, hide under the bed. And you're thinking to yourself, what in the world is hiding under the bed gonna do? And then later on, you see that the bed had like there was like a false trap door where they could actually hide even further below the ground where they were in between the boards. I thought that was really slick and I liked the way they pulled that off. One part of the film that I thought was very accurate was at the end how they are betrayed by the actual black guy who had them trying to smoke. He's telling them smoke the weed. He's trying to tell them, oh, it's all good. Y'all are like celebrities. He's trying to make them relax. And then later on, of course, he stabs them in the back because he wanted to collect the $250,000 reward. So I think that was accurate. And a lot of people didn't like that because they wanted him to get away and make it to Cuba and this happy ending. But truthfully, there's not a lot of unity in the black community. And if you just look on social media and when certain topics and certain things come up, the black community is always divided. There's usually some people who feel far left, there's some people who feel far right, and just can never get on the same exact page. And there's a Nas song where he says in the line, he says, it's never your enemy who gets you, it's always your own people. And I feel like that just the way that they're showing that he betrayed them and he turned them in because he wanted the reward money, I felt like that's very accurate, and it's just something I felt like that would definitely happen nowadays. Like you get a bunch of people who say, no, it's about the movement, it's bigger than just this, and then you'll always get this small group of people who would completely sell everybody out because they want some money, they want some clout, they want some status. And to piggyback on that, even like, for example, what's going on right now with Oprah Winfrey and the fact that she's so gung-ho about making documentaries about certain people who've been accused of all kinds of things. And all these people are black men, even though there's some people who are far more high profile, who are white or of other races. For some reason, Oprah isn't so gung-ho about making documentaries about those guys because she's been seen in pictures with them. But she's going at certain black figures. All right, so now it's time for me to give Queen and Slim a score on the Mindbender movie meter. I enjoyed this film a lot, and even though it's an emotional love story and it's not an action thriller, Bonnie and Clyde shoot 'em up type of thing, and even though it does have a sad ending, I enjoyed this film a whole bunch, and I think this is worth seeing while it's still in the theaters. So I'm gonna have to give this film a score of 88% on the Mindbender movie meter. You definitely want to check this movie out while it's in theaters. Okay, so this has been our review for Queen and Slim. If you enjoyed this review, definitely subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Mindbender Entertainment. Of course, follow us on Instagram at Mindbender_entertainment. Check us out on Twitter at MindbenderENT. And of course, check out the website, mindbenderent.com. The future is now.